Members, it is about time to make a start. We have attained the quorum. Item number 1, confirmation of minutes of minutes of the 26th meeting held on June the 9th. The minutes have been made available to members before the meeting. As of now, I have received no comments on the minutes. Can I take the minutes as read? No objection. Minutes taken as read. Matters arising, report on meeting with the CS. There is nothing in particular to report to members. Item 3, business arising from previous council meetings. A, Legal Service Division reports on bills referred to the House Committee in accordance with Rule 54(4). 1, Statute Law Miscellaneous Provisions Bill 2017. Legal advisor, please. Paper LS79. Madam Chair, the purpose of the bill is to introduce miscellaneous amendments to various ordinances. There are 9 parts to the bill. Mainly, there are amendments to the criminal procedure ordinance to empower the court a discretion to permit a complainant of specified sexual offences to give evidence by a live television link. There are amendments to the district court ordinance so that the jurisdiction limits of courts-only proceedings may be amended by resolution of the Legislative Council. There are amendments to the legal practitioners ordinance and the admission and registration rules relating to the residency requirements for admission as solicitor. If these are enacted, then they will be coming into operation on the day to be gazetted. On the 27th of March, the panel on administration of justice and legal services was consulted. Members genuinely supported the amendments. We are still looking into the details. Members might wish to set up a Bills Committee. All right. Vice Chairman proposes a Bills Committee. Mr. Wu Chi-wai and Mr. Holden Chow will be joining. There will be further circulations. 2, Chinese Medicine Amendment Bill 2017, paper LS75, please. Madam Chair, the bill empowers the Director of Health to issue a Chinese medicine safety order to prohibit the sale or supply of Chinese medicines or to recall such products if the director believes that they are dangerous or injurious to health or unfit for use by human beings or pose danger. Failure to comply with the order is a criminal offense which carries a level 6 or $100,000 fine or imprisonment of 2 years. And these will be coming into operation on a day to be gazetted. On the 28th of February, the HS panel was consulted. Members generally supported the proposal, although they expressed some concerns. Members might wish to set up a Bills Committee. Dr. Helena Wong proposes a Bills Committee. Mr. Shu Kao-fai, Mr. Ben Chen, Mrs. Regina Ip will be joining. There will be further circulation. Please. B, Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on June the 9th and tabled in Council on June the 14th. Before we deal with this report, a legal advisor, please take us through the paper LS80. That's the Protection of Endangered Species of Animals and Plants Amendment Bill 2017. Madam Chair, the bill seeks to amend the Protection of Endangered Species of Animals and Plants Ordinance. This is to increase the penalties. All the details are set out in paragraphs 6 to 9. Now, there are 3 phases to impose greater restriction on elephant hunting trophies and ivory, and there will be a total ban of ivory and, on a certain date in 2017, and this is to implement the proposal in the 2017 policy address to implement the decisions of CITES The proposal was taken to the EA panel in 2016 for consultation. The latest one was June the 6th. Members raised quite a number of concerns. I get the feeling that members may wish to set with Bills Committee. Dr. Elizabeth Quat, Mr. Sukafai, Mrs. Claudia Moore, and Mrs. Regina Ip so propose, and I'm sure that you will be joining. There will be further circulation of the invitation to members. B. Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on June the 9th and tabled in Council on June the 14th. Legal advisor, please, LS 78. There are 6 items. The first one is LN 114. That's the Hong Kong Air Navigation Fees Amendment Regulation. There are 54 items of fees and charges, and they are collected by the Civil Aviation Department. 45 items will be adjusted upwards to achieve cost recovery, and these 45 items have to do with the licenses and permits issued by the CAD. There are 2 items that will be adjusted downwards because they are over recovering the costs. All the details are set out in LS 78, para A to E. This will come into operation on the 1st of November, and the ED panel was consulted on the 27th of February, and members were generally supportive of the proposal. All right, SC. No, legal advisor, please. The other 2, LN 115 and 116, have to do with investigating civil aviation accidents. LN 155 amends the Hong Kong Civil Aviation Regulation, and also having regard to Annex 13 of the Convention on International Civil Aviation. Basically, the power and function of the Director General will be transferred to an independent investigation authority, which is headed up by a chief investigator and other, or chief inspector and other investigators, and this CI will be answerable to the STH. There will be transitional arrangements under LN 115. LN 116 is making corresponding changes in the light of 115, and this will come into operation on the date to be appointed by STH. Right? SC for the above 2, Mr. Jeremy Tam proposes. Mr. Kenneth Leung will be joining. There will be further circulation of invitation. Legal advisor, please. The next 2 have to do with the insurance levy. Insurance levy regulation. The policy holders will have to pay levy to the IA. There will be regulations, and the authorized insurers will remit the levies to the IA. There are relevant requirements. Beg your pardon, Madam Chair. LN 118 is the insurance levy order. That's about the rates of levies regarding the contract of insurance. This will come into operation on the 2018 of January. Any subcommittee? If not, legal advisor, please. Item 6. The last one is Pharmacy and Poisons Amendment Number 3 Regulation 2017. This is to add 7 substances to the relevant schedules. For these 7 substances, or the sale, supply, labeling, and storage will be subject to regulation. This has come into operation on the day that was gazetted. NESC suggested? No, just a reminder that for those subsidiary legislation, the deadline for amendment is 12th of July. If extended, then the first meeting of the next, first council meeting of the next legislative year. Further business for council meeting of June the 21st. A report number 21 of the House Committee on Consideration of Subsidiary Legislation. There are 17 items. The deadline for amendment ends on June the 21st. No members indicated any interest to speak. B, Bill first reading and moving of second reading, Private Healthcare Facilities Bill. We're going to deal with this at the House Committee meeting on 23rd of June. C, Bill, resumption of debate on second reading CSA and third reading Inland Revenue Amendment number 2, Bill 2017. At the last House Committee meeting on the 9th of June, members raised no objection to the resumption of second reading debate. D, members' motion. Mr. Stephen Ho will move a motion under Section 34.4 of IGCO on the following. 1, Shipping and Port Control Amendment Regulation 2017. 2, Shipping and Port Control Regulation Amendment to Schedule 5, Notice 2017, and Merchant Shipping Local Vessels General Amendment Regulation. The motion has been issued to members in the paper issued to members before. The idea is to extend the amendment period to the council meeting on July 12th. Item 5, business for council meeting of 28th of June 2017, Mr. Attiju. Item 4, that's the meeting of June the 21st. I understand that the council meeting on the 22nd will be cut short to make way for the Finance Committee. Are we allowed an opportunity to have some discussion on this? My understanding is that for the council meeting of June 21st, the President has already taken the decision. I think he had regard to the agenda and made the decision. We have seen the notice issued, and we are not going to have any debate on the timing, as members are aware that it would be up to the President to decide on the timing of the council meeting. If you have any questions, you may wish to approach the President.
Mr. Dennis Kwok, I believe members' views are that in relation to the council meeting time, I think consultation is necessary. It should not be left up to the President to decide. Indeed, some members have strong views on shortening the council meeting hours for other committee meetings, because the council plays the most important role. The council meeting plays the most important role, and definitely some members will have comments to make. And can I reflect the view to the through the House Committee? I believe that the Secretary General has already heard members' views and will reflect your views to the President. But it is the President who has the power to decide when to convene a meeting, and please take up an appropriate avenue to discuss that with the President. We have a number of members waiting to speak. Are you all going to speak on this topic? If so, please discuss with the President after the meeting. Mr. Roy Kwong. This is a simple matter. This is the tradition of the Council. And that day, I'm going to move a motion debate which is the second one. So if we adjourn the meeting at 1 p.m. on Thursday, very likely my motion debate will not be discussed. So shouldn't you discuss with the President why the line is drawn this way? I'll give each member 30 seconds. Mr. Alvin Young. Madam Chair, I hope that Madam Chair and Deputy Chair can explain this to the President. If we just arbitrarily cut short the Council meeting without any objective standard and without any notice in advance, this is very disrespectful to members. I think that the Council meeting is significant. I am concerned that if we set this precedent, then for various reasons in the future, the Council meetings will give way to other meetings. Dr. Helena Wong. Well, I want to know, in the history of Council meetings in Hong Kong, whether there is any such precedent that the President can just cut short any Council meeting without any reasonable explanation. It is a mere conjecture that the Council meeting can be adjourned at 1 p.m. But what if his speculation is wrong? Doesn't this mean an abuse of power on his part? I want to know whether he has consulted you or Mr. Dennis Kwok. All right, your time is up. Dr. Fernando Zhang, we're supposed to discuss the housekeeping matters of the House Committee, including the arrangement for the upcoming Council meetings in the next 2 weeks and also other panel meetings. Now, all of a sudden, the President is now suggesting that the Council time would be shortened. I think the President should come to the House Committee and consult members first. And, Madam Chair, as the Chair of the House Committee, then I think that you should reflect the views of this committee to the President. Ms. Claudia Mo, we're supposed to discuss housekeeping matters at the House Committee, and we should discuss why the Council time can be cut short. Well, you just now said that the SG will talk to the President, but I think that we shouldn't have to go through the SG to relay our views to the President. The SG is not an elected member. You should rethink. You cannot say that this is the power of the President and he can just make this decision. Mr. H. Han, Mr. Andrew Leung can make arrangements for Council meetings, but this is subject to agreement by the majority of members. For example, sometimes the Council meeting will be adjourned slightly after 7 p.m., but if a member objects, saying that we're lazy, then I think that it's up for discussion. So we should be able to ask him for an explanation. He should give us an account. I don't understand why we cannot discuss it today. If you wish to speak, please press the request to speak button, and then I'll draw a line because we haven't reserved time for this discussion. Mr. Wu Chi-wai. I think Council meeting is very important for the Finance Committee. It can estimate when the Council will be adjourned, and then the Finance Committee meeting can be convened immediately after the Council meeting has been adjourned. We need to set our priorities right. But now that the Council is giving way to the FC meetings, I think that this is out of order. Dr. K.K. Kwok. Well, Madam Chair, I think that you're not doing your job properly because you are supposed to relay our views to Mr. Andrew Leung, and you are supposed to give us time to speak on this topic. The President of the Council is so outrageous. He can just cut short any Council meeting, and Madam Chair, you are not doing your job properly. I'd like the SG to respond to our questions. Has there ever been any precedent in which the Council time can be cut short and time can be given for other committee meetings instead? Mr. Nathan Law. Madam Chair, I think that we should discuss this issue here, because I think it's pointless to talk about any items on the agenda here. Let's say if Mr. Andrew Leung decides to cut short the council meeting to, say, noon on Wednesday, then I think it's pointless to discuss here what members' motion debates will be. That is why we need to engage him in our discussion so that we know what we will be discussing. I hope that this will be put on the agenda of the House Committee. Mr. Kim Yun, well, I think members have already expressed their views loud and clear. I think that as a matter of the rules and established procedures in this council, it is very important that we follow them, and this is such a major change. Members should be consulted. I believe that in terms of the core values of Hong Kong, it is necessary to follow the established rules and procedures. And I think unless there is a very strong reason, we should not depart from the rules. Mr. Wong Kwok Kin. Madam Chair, I am very unhappy with what you're doing, because there is no such item on the agenda today, and you're allowing them to engage in a debate on this topic. If members are interested in this topic, then they should submit an item to be put on the agenda for discussion. Well, some say that we are departing from the rules, because some members all of a sudden started this debate. Aren't they just bulldozing things through? Mr. Horace Zhang. I think in terms of how the meeting should be convened, how much time should be spent on a meeting, I think that the chair of a meeting can judge based on his experience, and he can also refer to experience. So this is up to the president or the chairman to decide. If there is already sufficient time to finish all the items and we can spare time for the LegCo to deal with other matters, I don't think this is destructive to the Council's business. You have expressed views in relation to the Council meeting on the 21st of June. We have not set aside any time for discussion at this meeting, but I have exercised my discretion to allow members to speak according to the rules of procedure. The President's decision should be final. As chair of the House Committee, I will, after the meeting, relay your views along with the SG to the President. If you have comments in relation to the President's decision, you should not start a debate here in this room. After the meeting, you can communicate your thoughts with the President. No, I've given discretion for you to speak. Dr. K.K. Kwok, this is the point of order. We're talking about the council meeting on the 21st. I asked categorically for information from the SG, so he should respond. This is not a discussion. We need to have background information to see whether it's a departure from the ROP. SG, anything to add? Very briefly, because I understand members also know that they could approach the President after the meeting. Well, Madam Chair, just very briefly, my understanding is that the President has considered the agenda for that meeting, and he anticipates that the items can be completed in time before making this decision. Point of order. Let's say if the items cannot be completed by 1 p.m., will the council meeting be suspended, or will we be allowed to finish the items first? Well, Madam Chair, let's not spend time at the House Committee to discuss these matters. But we're exactly here to discuss these details. I want to know how the meeting will be conducted. Coming back to the agenda, this is for the Council meeting of the 28th of June 2017. A, questions. There will be 22 questions, including 6 oral questions and 16 written questions. B, bills first reading and moving of second reading. 1. United Nations Anti-Terrorism Measures Amendment Bill 2017. 2. Employment Amendment Number 2 Bill 2017. The House Committee will deal with the aforesaid bills at the meeting of the 30th of June. C. Government motion Motion to be moved by the Secretary for Transport and Housing under Cap 240, Fixed Penalty Criminal Procedures Ordinance Section 12. Wording of the motion has been issued via paper CB-3683/1617. Members' motion D. Mr. Charles Mott's motion, reforming outdated legislation and promoting the development of innovation and technology. And number 2, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong's motion on establishing a universal retirement procedure. If members wish to make amendments, the deadline for making amendments is the 21st of June, Wednesday. There are 3. There's a list of subsidiary legislation, the deadline of which for moving amendment is 28th of June. I remind members that if you wish to speak in relation to these subsidiary legislation, please inform the Secretariat before 5 p.m. on the 20th of June. 6. Reports of Bills Committees and Subcommittees. A. Report of the Bills Committee on Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2017. I invite Mr. Frankie Yik to report to the House Committee. Chairman, the Bills Committee has completed its work. The bill seeks to amend the Road Traffic Ordinance Cap 374 to increase the maximum passenger seating capacity of light buses from 16 to 19 and to make consequential amendments and to remove obsolete transitional provisions added by the Road Traffic Amendment Number 3 Ordinance 1988. While most members of the Bills Committee support the bill, a few of them wish to take this opportunity to enhance the quality of the public light bus services alongside the legislative amendment exercise to increase the seating capacity of light buses. Some of these suggestions include increasing the maximum passenger seating capacity of light buses to 20, installing seatbelt sensors for passengers, and more low-floor wheelchair accessible PLBs. During the deliberation, the Bills Committee has noted that as the long title of the bill has specifically set out the maximum passenger seating capacity, if members wish to move amendments in relation to any suggestions above, it might be out of the scope of the bill. Some members are of the view that the drafting of the bill was too restrictive in a sense that it in effect rules out any amendment to be proposed by members during the course of scrutiny. Details of the committee's deliberations are set out in the report. The administration has indicated that it will not move any amendment. The Bills Committee will not move any amendments either. The Bills Committee urges the administration to actively consider members' views. The administration has responded that it will be open-minded in future on the issues raised by members, such as the 20-seat proposal, the installation of seatbelt sensors, and the trial runs of the low-floor wheelchair-accessible PLBs in Hong Kong. On passage of the bill, the administration will conduct a regular survey on PLB services scheduled for 2018. And the administration will take this opportunity to collect feedback from the trade and the general public on the 3 issues above. And when the statutory limit on the number of PLBs, that is 4,350 at present, is due for review in 5 years' time, and that is 2022, the issues of maximum seating capacity of PLBs will be looked into again, naturally. The Bills Committee has no objection to the resumption of the second reading of the bill at the Council meeting of the 28th of June 2017.
Just a reminder that for amendments, the deadline for notification is 19th of June, a Monday. B. Report of the Bills Committee on Bank of Communications Hong Kong Limited Merger Bill. I call upon Chairman of the Subcommittee, Mr. Wu Chi-wai, to report. Madam Chair, the Bank of Communications Hong Kong Limited Merger Bill was introduced by Mr. Chen Zhenying. The idea is to transfer the bank's retail banking business and private banking services to a subsidiary incorporated in Hong Kong, i.e. Bank of Communication Hong Kong Limited. The Bills Committee notes that the proposed transfer of business is part of the development strategy of the Bank of Communication Limited company in Hong Kong. It is in keeping with international trend to transfer retail banking business to local subsidiary. During the course of deliberation, the BC discussed the benefits of the proposed business transfer, the impact on tax revenue, and the notifications to customers about transfer of accounts. All the details are set out in the report. Mr. Chen will be moving CSAs to change the term insurance companies ordinance to insurance ordinance. The BC raised no objection to this technical amendment. The BC will not move any amendments at all. The BC agreed that the resumption of second reading will take place on the 5th of July. Thanks very much, Mr. Wu, for amendments. The deadline for notice is 24th of June, a Saturday. C. Report of the Subcommittee on Promotion of Recycling and Proper Disposal, Electrical Equipment and Electronic Equipment Amendment Ordinance 2016, Commencement Notice 2017, and Product Eco-Responsibility Regulated Electrical Equipment Regulation. Chairman of the Subcommittee, Dr. Lo Wai Kwok, please. Madam Chair, the Product Eco-Responsibility Regulated Electrical Equipment Regulation seeks to make provisions for the regulation details for the recycling and proper disposal of 8 REEs. We have held 4 meetings. All the main issues discussed include the provision of recycling labels and removal service for REE, the time limit for consumers to request removal service, how will the administration ensure that the suppliers will pay the recycling levies, and also the arrangement for the cancellation of registration of registered suppliers. All the details are set out in the report. After discussion with the BC, the administration will move amendments to the way suppliers and sellers provide recycling labels, the number of collectors for removal service, and the time limit for customers or consumers who request removal service. The SC will not move any amendments, nor will the SC raise an objection for the administration to move the resolution on July 5th. The subcommittee notes that Mr. Ted Hui will move amendments to make it mandatory for suppliers to affix recycling labels to REEs and to extend the time limit for consumers to request removal service. Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Dr. Low. For amendments, the deadline for notification is June the 27th, of Tuesday. The report of Subcommittee on Toys and Children's Products Safety Ordinance Amendment of Schedules 1 and 2, Notice 2017, Chairman of the Subcommittee, Mr. Wong Teng Kwong. Madam Chair, the SC has completed the scrutiny of the Toys and Children's Product Safety Ordinance, amendment of Schedules 1 and 2, Notice 2017. Since the standards institutions have updated and amended the standards for 5 classes of products, namely bunk bed for domestic use, child safety barrier for domestic use, high chairs and multi-purpose high chairs for domestic use, playpen for domestic use, and wheel-child conveyances. The CEDB issues a notice to incorporate the new safety standards in the schedules of the Toys and Children's Product Safety Ordinance. Upon commencement of the notice, no person shall manufacture, import, or supply toys and Schedule 2 products unless they comply with the latest safety standards in Schedule 1 and 2 of the ordinance. The subcommittee held 1 meeting with the administration. Members discussed various issues like published date of the safety standards and the commencement date, past prosecution and customs and excise enforcement and publicity. So those issues were discussed with the administration. All the details are set out in the report for members' information. The subcommittee supports all the amendments in the notice and will not move any amendments to the proposals. Thanks very much, Mr. Wang. Just a reminder that for the notice, the deadline for amendment is July 5th, Wednesday, and the notification for amendment is 5th of July, and the deadline is July 12th. Position of committees. As of June 15th, Thursday, there are 8 bills committees in action. There are 15 subcommittees under the House and 5 subcommittees under panels that are currently in action. There are 8 committees on the waiting list awaiting activation. Item 8, proposed overseas visit to Israel by the panel on commerce and industry. Mr. Wu Chiwai. Madam Chair, members, the CIP proposes a duty visit to Israel from July 22nd to July 28th, 2017 to study the promotion of I&T industry and reindustrialization. All the details are set out in the paper. At the invitation of the panel, the IT Bureau will send 2 officials and offer advice to members, and the officials will be paid for by the administration. The panel agrees that non-members will be welcome to join. There are 11 members, including 3 non-panel members who have indicated their interest to join, and the name list is set out in Appendix 2, and members are requested to give their approval. All right, your approval is requested for the CI panel to conduct the duty visit. And comments, please. If not, all agreed. Any other business? There are no AOB items meeting agenda. Thank you all very much.